watching us right now.
You know what? That's actually a good possibility.
And we should sate their desire for technological discussion-edness. Or
well,
just discussion is probably a fine enough word to use there.
Yeah, I was going to say, I hope we...
Oh, you know what,
and clearly, Paul has not muted his computer.
Apparently, we're live. All right, there we go.
So, thank you guys so much for joining us. You're watching the Alt+Tab show. I'm Steve.
And I'm Paul.
Thank you very much. No, you did great. No, that was fantastic.
Sorry.
You know, we have such a good chemistry on camera, Paul. I just have to draw attention to it right now. It's things like this that just make me feel like we mesh perfectly. It's awesome. Thank you guys, honestly, though, for watching. What are we doing? What's happening in our lives right now?
I don't know, Steve. I don't know.
I believe Computex is probably in order.
It is
we're
true.
Doing some of that.
We do have, all right, so just to bring you guys up to speed, we do have some things planned for today's live stream. We'll just be up front. We're not as prepared as we have been in weeks past, but there are reasons for that, totally legitimate reasons. But that's just a disclaimer. Yes, Computex. We're going to Computex very, very soon. In fact, in about 2 weeks, I believe.
Yeah, I think that's
from today is when we leave.
Some of the team is leaving earlier than
2 weeks from today.
Right.
So yeah, some of our team members, fingers crossed, are going to be going to actually a little trip to China first. Steve and I aren't involved in that, but Kyle is going, and Rachel is going to China.
As well as Mr. Lamb.
As well as Mr. Lamb, we believe. So they're going to be covering China and bring you all you need to know about China in case you wanted to know more about that. I think they're going to be visiting some vendors there.
Yes.
Possibly doing a factory tour and showing you guys how to make like a motherboard at home.
Is that what they're doing?
I mean, if they have all the equipment.
As long as you have a solder pool, you can just dip it right through there.
Exactly, the waterfall, the solder waterfall. It's so beautiful.
Perfect.
It smells good too.
Oh, I wouldn't imagine that at all. But
solder.
So I'm just curious, what do you guys want to see at Computex? Because clearly we're going to try and cover as much as we possibly can. Is there anything you guys are excited about? Anything that you're looking forward to, or maybe hoping to hear announced at Computex 2014? What do you want to see at Computex? Actually, what would you, if you just imagined a manufacturer would just make exactly what you want, or you've heard that might come out, what would you want to be announced at Computex 2014?
I would want free samples of X99 chipset motherboards and Haswell E. Samples of whatever we see there is obviously why everyone goes, because they really don't hand out free samples there, but that would be cool if they did. And since you're asking me to set up a fantasy of what I would want, that's what I would want. Free samples of that. And no, it's fine. We're still.
We heard a rumor we're down, but we might be okay.
We're still good.
We're gonna keep going anyways.
By down, we meant like we are down with today's live stream. See how I?
Okay. I don't know if I'm down.
Also. No more dancing.
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry. What else would I want? I would want like next generation GPU architecture from both NVIDIA and AMD.
That's what I'd want to hear too.
I mean, none of the. I don't think any of this is happening. By the way, we have no idea
for
no sure. But I don't think
we're saying.
Like new GPUs. That'd be cool. Like next generation, like. I don't know. I mean, we've had M.2 just recently with Z97 motherboards, but like next generation storage form factors, like something more along the lines of what you get with Thunderbolt, but like internal integrated native onto a.
Wow, that'd be really cool.
That'd be. I mean, like super fast. I don't know. I want all of the things you would need to make a computer that's twice as fast as the computers we can build right now, but
announced.
Less money or free.
Okay.
Yeah, perhaps that's a lot to ask for.
I would love to have just a little one of those grab bag totes, and it's just a motherboard in every one of them as they hand it out to you.
That'd be cool.
That'd be awesome, because you know you reach inside and like, oh, here's a coupon code for 10% off.
Yeah.
Here's this other thing, but just to reach inside and grab a brand new motherboard, that'd be awesome. Yeah, I have to agree. That would probably be the best possible thing.
So all of you Computex coordinators who are watching our show right now, make that happen.
Please.
Surely it will.
Please and thank you.
Oh, and Taiwanese breakfast. Rachel, we're really looking forward to the food because it's epic in Taiwan. The dim sum you can get and like the breakfast they make. It's just I was like, oh, It's delicious, and so much of it is like really, really inexpensive as well.
I've also heard that even 7-Eleven is an amazing place to shop while you're there.
Well, they do have a beer called The Beer, and it's actually pretty good.
What is it?
I think it's actually from Japan.
Oh, okay.
The Beer.
Okay.
But it's just, you go and it's like a can. It's like a 32 ounce or something like that, and it just says The Beer. I think it's, I don't know. I bet Kyle would remember, because I only had 1 or 2 of them.
Okay.
Per hour.
No,
I'm just kidding.
If you know what I mean.
I'm just kidding. I don't drink that much.
Okay.
But yeah, we're very excited about Computex. I hope you guys are excited to see some of our coverage, because we're probably going to be spamming the crap out of the channel. So sorry about that, but we got to bring all the latest stuff. And Computex, the reason we go to Computex, in case you guys are wondering, is because if you look at all of the tech shows across the spectrum of tech shows that exist, really Computex is kind of the cream of the crop when it comes to core IT components, computer internals, motherboards, CPUs, graphics cards, all that kind of stuff. There is more new items announced and put on display at Computex than anywhere else, CES included. So that's why we're going. And one thing we're not looking forward to is the flight.
Yes. How long is the flight again?
It's 14? Like 14 hours there and 12 back, but I believe we have a stopover in Tokyo Narita on the way back, so it's going to be more like 14 or 15 on the way back too.
Perfect.
But on the way there, you lose a day. Like, you leave on Friday, and then you get there on Sunday morning, and you're like, what happened? I lost a day of my life. But then on the way back, it's like you leave at 4 p.m. in the afternoon on Friday, and you arrive at 2 p.m. in the afternoon on Friday, and you're like, I've just traveled in time. And then, like, Doc pops out and tells you have to go back. And
because it's your kids, Marty. It's your kids. And then we just go. God, we should just do a story about Back to the Future. We should just do that.
Oh, I'm sure we can.
It'd be amazing. Flux capacitors.
Flux capacitors.
And someone out there should call your neighborly Napa or AutoZone and ask for a capacitor for a 1987 DeLorean, and then say flux right after that. Anyways, sorry. Trolling your.
But what if
neighborhood.
they had no flux to give?
Well. Clever, Paul. Very clever.
Right, sorry.
So should we move along to the stories?
We shall.
We should?
We should. We must.
We shall and we should. All right, Paul, so the very first one here is about...
Start with an Amazon story?
Yeah. I think that'd be the best.
All right, you guys have probably heard of this by now. If you haven't, you have now heard of it. So Amazon was granted a patent recently, and it's made a lot of news. Some patents do more than others, but the reason this one has is because it seems so broad and so vague.
It's not broad.
And it seems to cover pretty much anyone who has ever done like photography. I mean, not
this
anyone,
totally legitimate, Paul. I don't know what you're talking about.
But yeah, scroll down a little bit lower. They have the actual diagrams from the patent. So the idea here is that if you put an item against a white backdrop and take a picture of it, you're infringing on Amazon's patent. And it seems a little silly to
if the light is placed in a longitudinal direction on a platform that is elevated 88 centimeters.
That is correct.
See?
They use words like longitudinal and achieves a desired effect of substantially seamless background. And now so this is one of those patents that, first of all, you're like, how did this even, because this is not like they've applied for this patent. They have been granted this patent. How does the patent office see something like this and not think, oh, this has been done for I don't want to say 100 years, but however long as photography has been out, they've been setting up backdrops and lighting the backdrops and taking a picture of a subject in front of it. It's extremely, extremely common. And if there is any validity to this, then Amazon could sue everybody, apparently, and it seems a little far-fetched to me. The counter to this is if they ever did take someone to court for this sort of thing, I feel like and I'm definitely not an expert on this topic, but from examples that I've read in the past, is the broader a patent is, the less of a reward that the court will usually grant to the party who owns the patent.
That makes sense, because it would hit a lot of other industries possibly.
Yeah,
the more broad it is.
So if it's like a very specific thing that you actually should legitimately have a patent, and there's this type of thing, then you might be awarded a ton of money because this other company made something based on your design and made a bunch of money off of it, so you're owed some of that. Something like this, because it's so broad, if there was some sort of suit against this or something like that, hopefully it would be pretty minimal on the part of whoever the infringing parties might be. And then I guess the other flip side, if I want to give a flip side to this, is at least it's not a patent that they've never used before, because that's the go-to for patent trolls. They make a patent, never do anything with it, wait until somebody else does, and then sues them. At least they're using it. At least Amazon has actually taken pictures on a white backdrop.
That's a really positive outlook.
It's not saying, oh, you're right. I'm really giving them the benefit of the doubt on this one.
And according to this article, it says that they applied for the patent in November 2011.
Patents take a while.
I get that. I'm just saying that it's been that long that it's been kind of being worked through the system, waiting its turn in line to be looked at, evaluated appropriately, and then accepted.
Yeah.
So it's just wow.
I don't know.
Could you imagine the guy who works at Amazon and was filing for this patent? It's like, no, you guys at Newegg TV, ooh, you guys, as soon as my patent goes through,
But we're not on a white backdrop, fortunately.
I mean, not Newegg TV. Sorry, I said Newegg in general.
Yes.
Yeah, because a lot of the pictures have
That's
white.
why we've set this up back here like this, so we're not infringing on any patents. However, the white words that we're displaying on the screen right now or the black text is on a white background, Steve. So
it might be considered.
Steve, we need to move on. We need to move to something else.
Sorry.
Because that's clearly we're going to get in trouble.
Right.
And patents and all that good stuff.
Patents bad. Patents bad.
All right, we need to ask a question.
Let's do it.
For people to answer.
I asked about Computex, but we can ask.
We asked about Computex. That's true. That's true.
See if we got anything.
Did anybody tell us anything? Oh, and we didn't say this as well. Our Twitter names are down there and down there. If you guys want to tweet to us, Steve_OMG, or I am Paul Hardware.
I didn't see him at all.
What do you?
I'm looking for the Twitter handles that you pointed at down here. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. It was a bad joke.
Steve's kind of new to this whole video thing.
We're on video. We're on TV.
Yeah. Sorry, so tweet to us and ask us questions, and we'll try to answer.
Sorry, Paul.
Answer the things.
I was a little too straight man on that one.
That's good, Steve. No, it's
too
funny.
serious.
It is funny.
Robert Page. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, no. Somebody brought up a funny thing. I also did happen to see the Colbert Report episode because he reported on this Amazon thing.
Okay.
He is, and I think he's legitimately doing this. He's filing a patent on filing patents. So
that is amazing.
If you go to the patent office and you give them a patent, he's patenting that.
That access.
And you will immediately be infringing on his patent by doing. That's funny. That's very, very funny.
That's great.
Yeah.
Okay, so Robert Partridge says that he says Happy Friday first off. Well, thank you very much, Robert.
Yes.
He also says he wants free samples too, and can you help a computer nerd out? And we would do that just as soon as we got those free samples from Computex. We will hand them out to you, sir, since you were the first to ask. I'm okay with that. Okay, Kelly Tech says, any word on my Corsair RGB mechanical keyboard yet? Have you heard anything at all that we can talk about in terms of?
Have I heard anything?
Yeah,
just rumors.
Okay. Do you want to be a rumor mill real quick and just give them something?
I don't think it's coming soon.
Okay.
I think maybe
don't they only have the doesn't Corsair only have it for 2014? The patent for the RGB.
No. I don't think that's.
Is that another rumor?
I don't know, so I don't want to say one way or another. But I don't think it's coming till later this year. That's probably about as much as I should say about that one.
I hope Corsair hurries too for your sake.
Hey, Strider wants my shirt.
Nice. Take it off, Paul.
Well, just good. I got this on Shirt Woot, and I also enjoy it. I'm gonna wear it all the time now.
Lou, sorry, we don't have a release date yet on that RG Swift monitor. It's going to be probably the end of Q2 is the most likely, I think, at this particular point. Also, if you wanted to know more about that information, DisplayPort 1.2a recently added adaptive sync, which is essentially going to allow DisplayPort to give you that syncing property in monitors. So you might be able to hold out, but because the ROG Swift is already in the midst, maybe they're going to add that kind of functionality to other systems. But I will probably get the Swift unless there's some massive reduction in price that I'd foresee in something like that coming out, because who knows how long it's going to take before something like that comes out. Anyways, Paul, go ahead. Do you have some tweets?
I missed a little bit of what you said, but you were talking about the new DisplayPort thing, right? Too?
Right.
With
the 1.2a.
Yeah, that's cool. I'd kind of hold out for that. That seems like it might be more open. I'm hoping NVIDIA might adapt to be compatible with both. If both video cards were compatible with both, that'd be awesome.
Okay.
Because then you don't buy a monitor and then like crap. If I want this, I'm stuck buying only NVIDIA cards from now on or something like that.
Right.
I like being able to switch because
you like the option to have
my upgrade cycle for monitors is much longer than my upgrade cycle for a system or a graphics card in a system. So
in fact, I wouldn't even be upgrading if it wasn't for this technology.
I like that flexibility.
Yeah.
Mrs. Kitty or Nocturne Kitty asks if we're gonna maybe do PAX South. I don't know when that is. When is PAX South?
Is PAX South the one south?
Is it in Texas?
Yeah,
but it's in Austin, the good city in Texas.
Well, not that we have anything against Texas in general. Anyway.
No, I don't. No. Well, I love Texas.
It's probably going to stay.
I went to Dallas and it was hotter than the surface of the sun, and that sort of made my experience not as happy. April. Oh wait, no. PAX South. Oh, good Lord! January 23rd to 25th.
But it's only in Texas.
2015. Yeah. We'll check on that. I really don't want to say yes or no because that is right after CES, and typically our like October to January here, because it's like you go from Black Friday to events and stuff planned around there to Christmas and holidays, and there's stuff happening there, and then immediately go right into CES. And by the time you get back from CES in Las Vegas, like, holy crap, it's the next year, and it's like, when did that happen? And you're ready to take a little break. But I wouldn't mind going to PAX South. We were talking about actually doing the PAX Australia since we expanded.
Yeah,
I mean, this is total speculation. Total speculation.
By talking, we really mean we were on an airplane one time.
we were like, hey, we should do that. Yeah, we should do that.
Yeah, that was it. Not like Mr. Lamb sat us down and said, we have plans. Yeah. No, that's not happening.
No tickets have been booked yet.
I did find out a special friend, Shadow Fiend, is his birthday today. So shout out to you, Shadow Fiend, for your birthday. We don't do that very often, but it was a special birdie in my ear that told me that we should do that. So you should thank that special birdie. Okay, so moving along, Damon Breckheimer asks, can you tell us how many total new processors will be listed on Newegg June 2nd? And I cannot.
No, we can't, but we will be talking about something that is purely a hypothesis and rumor later in the show.
Yes.
So we do have a little bit to talk about with that. But you got anything else, Steve?
I got a couple more and then we'll move on. Allback asked me, why do you use Windows 2000? I do not use Windows 2000. So whoever told you that lied to you.
Yeah, they're talking about the stream and the overlay.
We do use 2000.
Ches is perpetuating a lie. We do not do that. It's all smoke and mirrors and overlays that I created. So that's just to give us a little nod of the head towards those of you out there that actually recognize Nextsape Communicator. So ta-da. And I think that's probably it for a little bit, because I will just keep going through Twitter.
Yes, we got lots of tweets. So keep tweeting to us. We'll come back to that later in the show.
Cool.
But we got some more news stories to talk about.
Okay. Oh, wait, everybody doing
hastily researched. So what's next?
Well, I think this one's mine, unless you know what's yours.
I have something about punching holes in cards.
Oh. That's okay.
No. We got booze. Let's talk about booze.
Yeah. So basically, making time go faster for aged booze. Essentially, a distiller has found a way to age spirits a little bit faster. Essentially, the key is a $5,000 faster. So bottom line is, for example, let's see. Bourbon distiller Buffalo Trace built its, quote, Warehouse X to test things like temperature increases and cycles of higher heat to induce a distillate to inflate wood more frequently, which is why makers of American whiskey will tell you that it doesn't need as much age on it. So say like a single malt scotch. So the bottom line of this is that you can basically now get your alcohol to age much faster and mix with the wood a little bit faster and give you the flavors that you want. There's something else I heard that was not this, but a way that you could like press. I guess like there's the Angels. What's it called, guys? Come on, Rachel knows because she knows bourbon. There's like the Angels share and there's like the Devil's share, right? And so the Devil's share is what's inside the wood, and there was like a certain alcohol that was made from that where they actually squeezed the alcohol out of the wood. No, Jenny told me about it, I think. If it wasn't you, it was definitely Jenny. And basically they squeeze the alcohol directly out of the wood as opposed to this, which is using something different. It's using chemistry to speed it up faster and get maybe for it to distill a little bit quicker. But the flavor inside the wood in general is what typically tends to flavor some other alcohols. And so if you end up pressing that out of the wood, it ends up being much, much stronger, and it just makes me think of that as soon as I hear them saying that they use a chemical to mix with the wood and get it to kind of saturate the wood a little bit faster. You're looking at me like I am speaking complete gibberish, Paul. I'm so sorry.
No, you're talking about booze, and that's interesting.
Yes. Yes.
So it's like you're overclocking your sets. That's like my go-to joke. I
know.
That's cool though. Alcohol faster.
Alcohol faster is basically the bottom line, guys.
And more delicious.
And getting Rachel's belly, she says.
So we're preparing for the weekend here.
I kind of split that story.
I feel like we talk about alcohol a lot on the show sometimes. Really, we don't drink that much.
Yeah.
Maybe when we were younger we were. But I would sometimes have like a drink in the evening, perhaps, after a hard day's work. And I've been cutting that out lately because I'm doing a little backpack in a couple months here. Yeah. So it's been good. Like I've lost some weight, which is good. You're talking about that, and it's making me think, oh, it's Friday, which means I get to have a little beer tonight. That's really fun.
I don't know. I don't really drink that much either.
Okay, so let's move on. What do we got next? We got
this is your punch card story.
That's not my story.
It's not my story either. I'm just kidding. No, I will tell you. I thought you said you had something about punch cards you want to say, so I thought.
I had pulled up your stories, and I thought that's what was going to be next.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, so essentially, if you guys remember how it was way before my time, so I'll just say that first. It was in the 70s. No, I thought you were saying that of course you don't remember, it was in the 70s. I thought you were saying something about how you had basically said that you wanted to do this story. Anyways, bottom line,
There's only one of us was alive in the 70s, Steve.
When were you born?
I'm young. Not really.
Wait, what year were you born then?
80.
I was born in 79. So I'll tell you all about the 70s, guys.
All right.
Anyways,
so punch cards.
So punch cards. So I don't know. This is really more kind of a blast from the past. This is to tell you guys when apps were essentially on these punch cards, and the way they would do the programming was based on the way that the punch holes were and where they were set. So you'd feed them into a machine, and you had to feed them in order. So if you accidentally shuffled the order, it would screw up the program. But bottom line, they used to be called, I want to say they were called IBM cards, and that was because I think it was something like 80% of the machines out there that use this technology were built by IBM.
So this is how they used to do computering.
Yes.
Yes. Fascinating.
There's also a film here. I'm just going to hit play so I can show you this super oldie time film.
They should go back to that IBM logo.
It's got that perspective in it.
Focusing.
Right. I sort of expect
I'm wrapped with attention right now, Steve. What is going on?
I don't know. I'm just trying to play on this film.
Simplistic animation on the screen.
Yeah, it's a 1964 film entitled IBM Once Upon a Punch Card, and it's kind of explaining how punch card systems work.
And we're expecting an update to this technology to be announced at Computex, which is why we're going to be going there. Bringing you all of this like needle points.
Yeah, here you go. Here they are programming it right here. And then it's feeding into the system to stack them. Wow. That is, I like the way we do it now better.
So the moral of the story is computers used to suck.
Yes.
Or
yes.
Look at that.
I'm killing this one. It's
okay,
just so,
all right.
It's just so long. I'm sorry, guys.
All right, let's go to the MIT technology review story.
Okay.
Because this one I think has some interesting discussion, and it's a little bit more current. So these are 10 breakthrough technologies. This is just one of those, list of 10 stories that's so popular. So this is from MIT Technology Review, and these are all technologies that either are new or really picking up stride in 2014. And these are things that we think, or at least MIT Technology Review thinks, and in my brief reading of this article, I seem like all really good stuff, that is really going to improve, hopefully, the lives of people around the world, the way we do things, help us conserve resources, help us to learn more about biology, that sort of thing. So we're just going to kind of go down the list and maybe say one or two things about each one.
I'll read the first one for you. So the very first one is agricultural drones. Nice. Relatively cheap drones with advanced sensors and imaging capabilities are giving farmers new ways to increase yields and reduce crop damage.
Excellent. So hopefully that might tie in something along the lines of reducing like monocultures and that sort of thing. That's a big issue for farming these days. So
enlighten me. Actually, I don't know anything about monocultures.
Well, monocultures are basically when you have massive fields of a single type of crop.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, so this is how industrial farming has the route that they've gone, because from a production line aspect, like that type of thing, having all of the one same type of crop makes sense because you can use all the same type of equipment and the same stuff to refine it and everything. But that really doesn't exist in nature, and in fact, a diversity of agricultural or plant life or whatever is very important to reducing the population of insects and vermin and that type of thing. So monocultures cause huge problems, introduces like plant diseases and that type of thing that wouldn't occur otherwise. And I watched a couple documentaries on this, so that's about all I know about it. But I know it's a problem.
Right.
And having more diverse crops and that sort of thing, and making smaller crops is catching on more to help prevent some of these problems that come from industrialized farming.
Okay.
So hopefully agricultural drones, maybe something that could also help with that, but also increase yields because there's lots of people in the world and there's more every day, and we need to feed them all. Next up is ultra-private smartphones. I really like this concept because security is obviously huge these days, and having something that's got the security built in, that's privacy in mind, that's going to let you know that like everything that you punch into your phone, every search you do, or that type of thing is going to be somehow logged and recorded by the NSA or whatever other government or private enterprise wants to do that. I'm down for that. Brain mapping. Steve knows all about this one.
Oh yeah, sure. Let me just jump right in. So brain mapping, a new map, a decade in the works, shows structures of the brain in far greater detail than ever before, providing neuroscientists with a guide to its immense complexity. So essentially just taking a map of the way that the synapses are connecting in your brain and get that weird webbed, just in the science shows I've seen, it looks pretty cool. But aside from that, setting me up completely for failure, I don't know much about it.
Next is neuromorphic chips, microprocessors configured like brains. So this, I've seen various things with sort of the confluence of biology and technology. For instance, storing data within cells and that type of thing. This is sort of another advancement towards that thing, which is microprocessors that are set up more like brains than like a traditional computer, which was designed
network.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. Hopefully, it will never achieve the singularity and turn on us with a robot army. Genome editing. Ooh, this one for some reason gives me a little bit of pause. Now, genomes and blah. I can't speak for
DNA
suddenly.
and DNA.
DNA manipulation. We had that yoke story earlier this week about.
I forgot about it.
They created a new type of organism using the four DNA letters we have, and they added 2 artificial ones and like made an organism out of it.
Well, to some degree, though, we do a lot of genetic editing when it comes to viruses. That's actually how we get virus immunizations. But You're right. Once you jump into, I mean, anything, bacteria otherwise, I'm sure there's lots of negatives to doing it.
Yeah.
Like unforeseen things that we wouldn't know versus being exposed to some bacteria or having some history of exposure to bacteria and allowing us to evolve through causing some damage to us versus making a brand new one, which we have no idea what would happen to us. But that's just me and my lack of knowledge of
Probably biology. Me too. DNA manipulation, genome editing seems like there's a potential... A lot of potential pitfalls there, but also a lot of possible really impressive. If they keep people from companies from patenting genes, I think that's one of the. They
should patent a species.
Big issues.
Just make a whole new species up and patent it.
I think Rachel wanted to.
I was going to add to that. Ian was telling me one time that there was this experiment they had in a lab of creating this genetically modified tomato or something, and then they realized that it was a good thing that they didn't keep it outside the lab or didn't take it outside the lab because it would have destroyed everything.
It would have killed every tomato in the world or something. It kind of
was one of those bad mutant type projects.
It was a bad tomato.
Is that where Attack of the Killer Tomatoes came from?
Something like that. So it's you have to show extreme care and caution and test everything.
Step cautiously when it comes to genome editing.
Yeah.
Curious. I wonder what they did. Did they just bring in other seeds from other tomatoes and plant them next to it to feel like it was safe?
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe.
It was something where it was they had to kill the whole project because it would have destroyed the soil or something like that.
Was there a crazy doctor that was head of the whole project and said, no, they're not going to believe us unless we have humans eating it, and took his glove and his mask off and ate it right in front of everybody and then died? That'd be great. Not aggressive. I just want it to be a movie.
We need to write a script on that. We'll work on that.
Right.
Next up is microscale 3D printing. We've actually discussed this topic on the show. I think a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Not just 3D printing, but using different types of materials to do that and create much more complex things, and also a very small scale. Really cool and a lot of potential there. Mobile collaboration. This immediately makes me think of a movie. And was it the Batman? Was it the first Batman?
Oh, right.
Where they had that network with everyone's phones connected and somehow provided him with a map of everywhere and showed him exactly where everything was.
It was a really slow map though, because not everybody was on 4G. So
must have been using Sprint or something. I'm on Sprint, and I don't know I wish I had better connectivity sometimes.
It's the first thing that popped in my head.
Oculus Rift, that's the real reason we're talking about this list of.
So the one really exciting thing on this list.
The one actual thing that's actually, multiple of these things actually exist, but Oculus Rift, virtual reality, it's coming fast, and we're excited.
I bought a dev kit too.
Oh yeah, Steve got a dev kit too. That should be coming in soon. Agile robots, combine that with the combine the agile robots, the genome editing, and the neuromorphic chips, I think, and you have basically the end of humanity and the rise of the machines and the robots.
Well, that and the next one, smart wind and solar power.
Smart wind, well, yes, they have to. Otherwise, they would have to. After we blot out the sun, they will need to use other means
because they're going to turn you into
the Matrix.
One of these.
A rechargeable battery.
No, the battery. He brings up an Energizer.
I know.
You guys know.
That's rechargeable.
You messed me up.
Okay.
You were making jokes.
All right, so. Yeah, Skynet. Okay. I agree. What happened?
Oh, I moved us straight forward to the next
No, that's fine. Let's go. Let's go. Let's push through here. All right, so we talked about the F.C.C. and net neutrality last week. We warned all of you guys that it was happening. The vote happened on the 15th, just yesterday, and we all failed.
No, that's not true. Everybody out there did a really good job. Here's what happened. They decided they were going to do it either way.
They were going to do it either way.
But as lame as it sounds, they're giving us another opportunity by letting us argue for the next 120 days whether or not they should be doing this.
That's right. So we have 4 months to put up a big stink and argue and stuff. So that's basically what it is. It's in the debate period right now. It's been proposed. It's been approved. They've said, yes, we looked at these words and they seem sufficient to us.
I want to add something to that. I feel like it's a really good way to just screw all of us, because how many other YouTubers out there or anyone else out there that's been crying wolf about all this gets all of you guys out there to do something, send a letter, do something, and now finally it goes to a vote, they approve it, And now it's like one more chance to do it. Now that means every other YouTuber out there does the same thing we're doing right now, which is asking you to do something else. And at some point, you guys are just going to be sick and tired of hearing us do this. And I don't think that they're unaware of that. I think F.C.C. is probably well aware that if you keep asking people to do something, eventually psychologically you're going to stop doing it. I would. But if you guys still want this to stop and you feel strongly about it, please do what you can. Fight as much as you can.
Yeah, I certainly hope that there's going to be a continued push towards this being a bad idea. And then we have a secondary story from TechCrunch that I believe is one tab over there, Steve.
Sorry.
Tom Wheeler is actually going to be going and talking to Congress, which you guys are familiar with Congress. I don't see exactly what sort of benefit this is going to provide, but the fun thing about this story, and I know we keep going back to talking about drinking, but they're suggesting you take a sip of coffee or another beverage of your choice every time you hear one of these phrases, statements, or a paraphrase of one of the following statements in this discussion. I know you guys will probably all be watching CNN when this goes down, or C-SPAN, or wherever the heck they broadcast what goes on in Congress. America invented the internet. Net neutrality will stifle innovation. Net neutrality will protect innovation. Net neutrality will greatly harm investment in new broadband capacity. I don't know about that. Net neutrality protects consumers for harms. Net neutrality harms customers. American broadband is slow, penetration is low, and broadband profits are high. American broadband penetration is great. And isn't it fantastic? The one I like is down at the end. I recently accepted a bunch of money from ISPs and thus find their perspective very compelling. I have a feeling that one is actually going to apply more than we would like it to.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's going to be one of those typical things where you have people debating and firing shots back and forth and all this kind of thing. I mean, the argument that you hear from, because there were there's Tom Wheeler and the two Democratic, and I don't want to get too much into Democratic versus Republican here, but Tom Wheeler and the two Democratic F.C.C. chair people voted for this. The two Republican members dissented and did not vote for this. The Republicans' statement was that, like, it's fine as it is. So, whereas on the one hand, our perspective is that it will be good to introduce actual rules to net neutrality, specifically with classifying ISPs as a common carriers, I think is the solution that most reasonable people who understand the internet seem to go with. The idea to not regulate it at all, it doesn't seem to make much sense to me. There needs to be some type of protections in place, and then the regulation that is being proposed by Tom Wheeler leaves open the possibility of that internet fast lane and that pay for service type functionality, which is why all the ISPs are so really stoked on getting it through. And anytime you have somebody with a vested interest in making a lot of money for something like that, guess what? They're going to be for it. So again, we don't want to dwell on this too long for today. So why don't we move on to some hardware? Some hardware news. Yeah, hardware. Okay. Some good news for folks who might be interested in purchasing an AMD graphics card. The coin mining, I don't want to say craze appears to be petering out. AMD, the PC Perspective has noted that AMD Radeon prices, R9 as well as 7000 series prices, have dropped to actual reasonable or even less than manufacturer suggested prices. If we scroll down a little bit here, they actually have a little chart comparing some prices on Amazon and on Newegg. Newegg is obviously better, but yeah, 295X2 actual MSRP of $1,500, R9 290X actually $550 on Amazon, $530 on Newegg, below MSRP. R9 290, a fantastic deal. And if you guys are looking for a really high power graphics card, particularly if you're going for high resolution, the R9 290 is really a great option, especially with the aftermarket coolers. 400 or less than 400. Looks like Amazon has us beat on that one. We'll talk to our guys after this. Anyway, all the way down the list, they're actually reasonably priced, and that's really good news. Do you know why?
No.
No? I can explain.
Please.
I don't want to, though. Oh, no, I'm just kidding. I will. The reason that, all right, so what we've had come about recently, and I apologize, I don't have any specific sources to cite on this, but we have the actual production that has ramped up of what is known as ASICs, or application-specific integrated circuits. So whereas a GPU or a CPU that you would typically have in your computer offer a very broad level of capabilities and different types of things that they can do, x86 CPUs in general are they can do tons and tons of, they can run lots of different types of code.
Right.
An application-specific integrated circuit that is a chip designed specifically to do Bitcoin mining or Litecoin mining or something like that, and they've been developing these for the more popular cryptocurrencies, and now that they can actually produce them on a wider scale, because they're so specifically designed, it means that they can do, I'm pulling numbers out of my butt, but they can do say five times the amount of mining that an R9 290X could do at like a fifth of the power. It's something to that effect. They're much more efficient at doing the mining. So as these become more widespread, the mining is still happening, but the practicality of mining with a video card is really has just fallen off, because you're spending too much money on the on your power bill to make it worth it, and people with the ASICs set up in place are just going to blow you out of the water. Ryan Strout from PC's Perspective actually tweeted a link to eBay earlier this week and said, "Hey, I think there's actually a sell-off going on because all the people who got these R9 290X cards, who got the high-end AMD graphics cards in particular, when the Bitcoin thing was kind of blowing up toward the second half of last year, are like, this isn't very useful to me anymore," and they're selling them. So
that's awesome.
He posted a link to some pretty compelling deals on eBay. I mean, pretty good prices, of course. Should probably just buy a new one from Newegg. That would be my recommendation, but
you'd be better off.
Check that out as well.
Keep your warranty.
All right, so that's good news, because it also means that will keep NVIDIA GPUs also competitive as well.
Very cool.
Pricing wise. Okay, next up we have a story that is.
This is near and dear to my heart.
This is a good story. Cool. I think you guys will be interested. However, we must preface this by saying this is rumor and speculation, and we are not confirming any of this information. However, according to this article over on Hexus.net, Intel's Devil's Canyon i7 series will be the first off-the-shelf 4 GHz processor from Intel. And I know AMD's over there being like, "Hey, we got a 5 GHz, so we got a 9590, right?" That's what we're using to stream actually right now. But
that's a good point.
I know a lot of people are excited about the Devil's Canyon. We had the Haswell refresh, the first round of the non-K SKUs that just launched on May 11th, earlier this week, and the Devil's Canyon have been rumored so far to be coming out also soon. Those will be the K SKUs. They will be unlocked. They're using a new thermal interface material. So there's also been some rumors that they might be better overclockers. But according to this article, and again, this is probably completely false, the 4790K will have a base frequency of 4 GHz, turbo boost up to 4.4, quad core with 8 threads, 88 watt TDP. The 4690K, which is roughly equivalent to the 4670K or the 3570K if you go all the way back to Ivy Bridge, 3.5 GHz base, 3.9 GHz boost, 4 cores, 4 threads. So similar layout as far as what we currently have with the first round of Haswell CPUs. Although that does seem to be a bigger delta, doesn't it, from the frequency wise? I feel like I don't know the stock clocks of a 4770K and a 4670K off the top of my head. I never run it at stock anyway, I think it's 3.9 turbo on the 4770K and maybe 3.8 turbo on the 4670K. Yeah, I could totally be wrong about that. I'm sorry, but you're right. We overclock anyway, so it's not a matter of what it can do or what it comes out of the box. It's a matter of what it can do when you put it up there. So also, did you see that thing down here? Updated packaging materials. That's what I'm really excited about. I was going to bring it back up. He's like, oh, is there something else? Let me show that was a joke. Updated packaging materials. I'm just too slow. That's exciting. Yeah. And these will also, from what we've heard rumored, these are going to be supported by the Z97 series chipsets that have just come out. I've also heard rumored that you might need a Z97 chipset motherboard in order to run these Devil's Canyon chips.
Lots of rumors.
Maybe.
Lots of rumors, guys.
But we will wait and see. Hopefully soon we'll have more information on that we can share with you guys, and more verified information. But there are rumors bouncing around, and it's nice to read those sometimes and speculate, although clearly none of it's true.
I'm going to move us right along, Paul.
Of course.
Maximum PC has an article here about SanDisk unveiling its self-encrypting X300s. 300, maybe that's 300. Yes, encrypting X300 solid state drive series. So no, it's 300S. Excuse me, X300S. So basically, the advantage of this particular drive would be that you could essentially get the solid state drive to encrypt on its own as you're using it, and obviously make it more secure for other businesses. But bottom line is that the X300S family leverages TCG Opal 2.0 and Microsoft encrypted hard drive, hardware-based encryption, and coupled with a new SSD administration dashboard for easier audit and compliance management, says the company. It's going to use AES 256-bit FIPS 197 certified hardware crypto engine to enable full disk encryption without the performance penalty that software-based encryption can introduce. They're going to have two different form factors, 2.5-inch 7mm, as well as M.2 2280 single-sided. And the different capacities, you're looking at 64 gigabytes, 128, 256, 512, and 1 terabyte. In terms of sequential reads and writes, you're looking at 520 megabytes per second. That's reads, and 460 writes.
Okay.
So depending on the model.
I wonder if the writes are lower due to the extra bit of latency introduced by the encryption.
That'd actually be really educated guess. I agree. Yeah. So pretty cool. Yeah.
But that's cool. Going along with the whole security theme, having your data is encrypted is a great way to go, especially if you can do AES 256-bit. That's a hard nut to crack, from my understanding. You should be pretty secure there, unless you forget your password.
Then you just wipe it and start all over.
I was like encryption standards like that. It's like they're so secure from a brute force type attack or to figure that out. But really, I think the weakness there isn't in the encryption. The weakness is like somebody finds the password, or I don't know. What was that drive? There's a drive that like self-destructs. I think it might also be from SanDisk.
Oh wow, that sounds like FBI level.
Yeah, that's basically what it is.
Usually it's set for tampering, so if you enter the chassis, it destroys the...
Yeah, it'll destroy the data or something like that. But
so I've heard.
Yeah, things like this, you always got to wonder, like, what kind of workaround do they put in place in case somebody forgets their password? Because it's probably going to happen. So
it's probably because enterprise deployment would probably the IT department would probably have the information, and they'd be able to manage it for you.
Like a master.
Right. So they would be able to enter it. So basically, I mean, that's even a direct quote from here. It's designed with SanDisk world-class flash and helps corporate IT leaders not only deliver the heightened performance and lower TCO that flash is known for, but also addresses data protection and security needs without business disruption. So, pretty cool, pretty fascinating. We're going to move us forward, Paul.
Indubitably.
Oh, this is a good one. This is a good one, you guys. You're going to like this one. You are going to like this story. Right over here.
So how many folks out there don't really game? Or I mean, I don't want to say don't really game, but how many of you guys do hardcore workstation type stuff on your system, depending on what your day job might be? If you do tons of, if you do video work, for example, if you do, I don't know, fluid dynamic simulations.
I do.
If you do,
put your hand down, Chess. You don't have to raise it.
If you work in fields of biology or science that require actual heavy workload systems,
AutoCAD, 3D modeling.
CyberPowerPC has a new line of desktops that they are touting, which are called. I wrote the name of them somewhere.
PowerMegaPro.
PowerMegaPro.
Is that really the name?
CyberPower. They have
like a
some
funny name.
Interesting names. PowerMegaPro. What? That's very straightforward. If you need power, and you need mega power, and you're a professional.
I would more think if you need power, and you're a mega pro, get the PowerMegaPro.
Do you think they should have gone with MegaPowerPro?
Maybe that they're Pro
Where's Ultra?
Or maybe they're Pro Mega Power.
Don't talk about Ultra.
No, they are for the massive amounts of power.
Yeah.
I could also see it being Mega Pro Power.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It sounds like a protein shake.
You're right.
It does.
Mega Pro Power, now a GNC. You know, 500 times your daily value of protein and ginseng.
You know what? It's pretty ginseng. I think Viagra aside, that this is probably a great product.
Okay, so they got one of these fancy webs, but these are basically like blinged out workstation systems, and gaming. Yeah, they look really nice. They're using an H440 NZXT. They also had one in a 900D. They're like, customized side panel window. They got the lights in there. They got the, the color scheme all put together, white and blue, or red and black.
Something about white with blue LEDs always looks so good to me.
Yeah. Oh, you like that?
I'm like the.
It looks cold. Because the idea is to keep your system cold, so that just looks cold, and that must provide some extra overclocking headroom.
I want someone to come up with some Mr. Freeze quotes real quick.
Yeah, clearly. So
chill out.
Typically, workstation systems and people who are actually do work, who cares what your computer looks like as long as it's solid and reliable and whatever. But who knows? Maybe we do have there's a group of customers out there who, yes, I do hardcore computing tasks on my system, and yes, I've got my system right there on my desk, and yes, the people who walk into my office look at that and be like, oh my gosh, what is that? And I think it's my Mega Pro Power. What the heck is it called?
My Mega Hyper Ginseng Pro.
It's my PowerMegaPro from CyberPowerPC. I don't know. I think it's pretty cool because I like high-end custom systems, and I especially like really powerful hardware. They got water
custom
cooling.
loop. This has got a reservoir, I think, and a water block, and looks like barbed or
that looks like
threaded.
A CyberPower block, and that's an XSPC radiator.
Okay. Yeah.
So maybe they
teamed up.
If CyberPower had XSPC make some custom stuff, then I would trust it.
Just like
more if it was just a CyberPower block and everything. But water cooling in particular is something that you don't typically see in a workstation, because you need uptime, you need reliability, and adding a whole water cooling loop.
Hold on, it's Wednesday. I need to swap fluid real quick on that.
Yeah, or oops, I have a leak or something like that. That's a potential issue. So the practicality there doesn't seem quite as much. But I suppose, the practicality doesn't seem there if it's a Xeon. That makes no sense. Wait, scroll back up. Is that Xeon one water cooled? Because they had a couple configurations.
Well, if that's Xeon, they only have 4 DIMM slots on it. If that is
so, that's probably not a Xeon. They had a 4770K one, and then the white. No, they're both water cooled. Okay, I'm sorry, but it's silly to water cool a Xeon.
There it is.
Yes,
if it water cooled. Yeah,
that's kind of silly.
Right. Because overclocking, right?
You can't overclock a Xeon. It works fine. Okay, well, anyway.
Well,
but
if you want it to be cold, it'll last longer.
If you really just want that visual appeal, I guess that's there. So,
but then you also control it. So if you know what you want, you could just tell them, don't water cool mine because I need it.
What this reminds me of is our friend Lee from PC Junkie Mods.
Oh, right, Lee.
Who does really, really high-end custom water cool loop systems. He was doing some work for I don't want to. He told me this. I can't share too much.
With a company.
Yeah, he was working with a company, and that company worked with the financial market. So
CyberPowerPC.
Yeah, we're talking like day traders and stuff like that. Folks like Chaz over here who run the market, who are the cornerstone of the market.
America.
And yes. But they needed these really high-end systems, and they were getting. This was back when Sandy Bridge E first came out, and they were getting high-end 3960X systems, full water cooling loops, overclocked to 5 gigahertz, simply because they needed as much speed as they possibly could get with their systems. Because the faster you can make that deal, I guess the better. And they also run really crazy monitor setups because they need to see the feeds coming in from all over the world. They need to make sure if the Nikkei is going to make a self-correction, they don't go overboard with the buying, selling.
That was good. You started out so good, and then you.
I did. I mentioned the Nikkei. I thought that lended some credibility to my sentence.
Just want to look at some of these. Oh, that's it.
It's pretty cool though. But yeah, surely we sell CyberPowerPC on Newegg.com, so maybe we'll have some of these available there, and that's how it's legitimate that we're talking about it.
How do you like that?
What else do we have? We have some gaming stuff.
That was in case you tell us we shouldn't have talked about that.
What?
I was making a joke. I said that's in case you tell us we shouldn't have talked about that.
Yeah.
We know we should talk about it.
Obviously.
That's what we do.
All right, so we got some gaming. We got some gaming stuff to talk about next.
All right, so I'll jump on with this one.
Ooh, my
Far Cry 4 has been announced by Ubisoft, and it's confirmed and scheduled to be released on PC, PS4, Xbox One, PS3, and Xbox 360 for November. So, if you are a November baby, you should be asking for something like this. No, I'm kidding.
Far Cry 4?
Yeah, I don't know. It should be fun. Kind of the first sentence or the last sentence describing the game's all about kind of makes me laugh.
How much Far Cry 3 did you play?
I don't remember what percentage I got to. I kind of got kind of a little bit bored playing it for a while. I kind of got used to the same missions. I do things out of order. Like even in Blood Dragon, I ran around to different locations and took them over so that I could easily go to different locations faster and have less I like doing resistance.
Exploring first.
Exploring's fun too because you unlock other things. I forget what you unlock, but I remember the advantage. I mean, it was weapons. Exploring unlocked the ability to buy those weapons or have those weapons readily available. That was also good. But yeah, so anyways, bottom line is this particular game is going to take place in the Himalayas in a specific region, in a precise region of the Himalayas called, I'm gonna try for it, Kairat? Kairat, any Himalayans out there that know?
Beautiful Norway.
Yeah, Tibetans? Tibetans?
No, I'm joking. The Himalayas. I was joking.
You yelled at her.
I know where the Himalayas are. The Himalayas are between India and China.
Okay.
So, okay. But I'm not familiar with
Kairat. I'm.
Is that really a
I actually Google mapped this and I couldn't find it, so it makes me believe it's probably fake. Just because there's so many random things like Area 51 and the barrier.
Well, I mean, and I feel like in some games, like if you're setting up a place and you want to, like, say, play on certain stereotypes of that region, I've seen them go with they make up something fictional and supposed to be in that region so that they don't specifically offend anyone.
Well, that would make sense because one of the pictures, it's not here, but there's a picture where this guy.
I could see Far Cry maybe crossing that line a little bit. They tend to be.
Well, there was the first picture I saw of this was not this article. It was basically it had this guy here, the tyrant.
Oh, PGM 0952 says it's 2 towns over from where the Dalai Lama was born.
Oh.
It says, I'm just looking at that article right now that says Kairat, a fictional region of the Himalayas.
Not fictional.
So in the article
if we had read one more sentence, we might have found that out.
No, it's ibtimes.com.
Oh, it's a different article.
All right, okay, good.
We're fine.
So I was right. It was fictional then.
Everything we said was correct.
Okay. Anyways, so the picture I saw was this tyrant in the pink suit with his hand kind of like basketball palming another subservient person from this Kairat region that doesn't exist, which is good because
I feel like you're choosing your words carefully.
I am so carefully. Okay. Yeah, and the quote here is that it's an untamed region currently ruled by a despotic self-appointed king. So that should give you an idea.
Like California.
So you threw me completely off with that. That's okay. I was trying to.
I didn't mean to distract you.
That's okay. No, it's fine. I wanted to say something about it, and I decided I'd rather not say something about it. Okay. But they say just like in previous games, players will be able to craft their way through an open world full of wildlife and make use of various weapons and vehicles to help them survive and follow their quest.
That's exciting.
So it's the same way that you've done it in every other game. Which is the only thing that
I hope the main characters in the game don't strike me as like. Can I say douchebags?
Douchebags.
All right, douchebags.
Well, but that's what they were supposed to be, though, in the story.
I know, but
it doesn't mean you want to play with douchebags. Yeah. Is your point, right?
No, I don't, Steve.
You don't want to play with douchebags.
Not literally or metaphorically.
Yes,
it's.
Dude.
Moving right along.
Wait, one last thing. I should say one last positive thing about it is that they want to, a quote from them is saying, following the success of Far Cry 3, we wanted to take the franchise to the next level and create a game that will surprise players and exceed fans' expectations. So they're telling us they're going to give it a unique setting, and they feel that Far Cry 4 is going to stand out as a top first-person shooter, and they're eager to reveal more about the game in coming months. So there's some good stuff coming out other than what they have been doing. I don't want to leave it on a negative note about that. I really hope the game is awesome. I bought the other ones. I really like Blood Dragon though. If you guys can make something really funny like that again, I'm all over it.
I like funny things.
Funny things are funny. All right. So moving right along. So this is a story from The Verge.
This is our last story, I think.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. So you guys can file this under ooh, kind of exciting, or gosh, this is the beginning of what's going to be a never-ending slew of like Star Wars leaks, because already there's been so much buzz over it. So I think most of us who are familiar with this franchise are really hoping that they do a really good job. I mean, I think if anyone can do it, maybe J.J. Abrams is probably in a good position to do so. But they've actually started filming episode 7, and there's an actual picture of a slate that they used.
What's the movie about, Paul?
It's Star Wars.
Read the slate real quick.
It's Star Wars episode 6.
Which filter is N6 going to make the movie look like?
I don't know. There's a bit of
I see a stop. I see a T-stop.
There's like way too much analysis of this one picture that's leaked. I mean, they're talking about like, oh, clearly they're using this for special effects shots due to the information on the slate, the T-stops that they have said, and all that kind of stuff. So
I was so kidding. I didn't even realize people were making that. I was just making a joke out of what I see here.
Yeah.
I've completely offended people I will never met. I feel bad. Yeah. I'm sorry for you people.
Filmmaker Joseph Kahn took to Twitter to analyze some of the more arcane language on the clapboard, suggesting the camera was set up for a visual effects shot. So breaking news here, there's going to be visual effects used in Star Wars Episode 7.
I want Jim Henson involved. I don't want visual effects being done.
Yeah,
and I want to see
animatronics.
Yeah, we need more animatronics.
I like animatronics.
I do like that, but I really don't care. It doesn't matter. I've seen it for so long.
What I'm really looking forward to is in 20 years when they do a digital remake of these films and like add in a bunch of like, I don't know what they'll make it like 3D holograms, you know, because that'll be all the rage at that point, and everyone will be like, it was better when it was 2D and they used all digital.
Yeah.
And now they're going with these analog hologram manufacturing.
My DVD crumbled to dust.
I can't.
So this guy is
speculation any further.
This guy's moving what looks like a massive column of concrete, but it's clearly just a prop.
It's a hatch.
It's a hatch. Oh, it's a hatch. Yeah. I didn't read the thing. I just looked at it.
I didn't read it. I just looked at it.
Oh yeah, I guess.
And if I know a hatch, I know a hatch when I see one, Steve.
Yeah, I guess you do. But I like looking at him, thinking that he's moving millions of tons of concrete. And
it does look like he's really handling that all by himself. And there's another dude standing right there, like, hey,
come on, George.
You're gonna finish this today,
George? The 3 of us are waiting for you to move this thing over here. I don't understand why you're not moving faster. Yeah, that's how I feel too.
Why aren't those guys helping him? It looks.
Because he's the.
Made out of styrofoam.
That's probably right.
But even though, wouldn't you want to help him? Maybe they're all the important people, and he's just like the. It's probably like the PA.
It's probably a union thing.
Okay. Styrofoam roller.
Yeah, you cannot. You are not allowed to do that job. You understand, Rachel? Because.
I understand. All I want is Admiral Akbar back.
Oh yeah.
It's
that would make sense, right? He survived. Yeah. He survived episode 6. Admiral Akbar.
But we don't know his life.
No, but it's like 30 years after episode 6, I think, or something to that effect.
Right.
So unless Admiral Akbar was only like in his 20s.
Yeah, because we don't know the life expectancy of his. Well, I'm sure someone out there does, and the expanded universe is going to look it up for me and prove me what it is. But maybe it's like 20 years. How long is it? Well, giant squid lived for a long time, right?
Let me reference Wikipedia, and I'll tell you Admiral Akbar's life story here. And just Akbar.
Let me just do this.
I don't really want to do this, but I'm going with it. There's a Wikipedia.
Yeah, see, he's totally a squid. That's what I thought. I'm looking at him right now.
He's a squid?
Well, he's aquatic.
His first name is Guile.
What's his species again?
A member of the amphibious Mon calamari. That's a calamari.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Calamari.
That's really cool.
He knows when something is a trap.
1.7 meters tall, and they can breathe underwater if necessary and descend up to depths of 30 or so meters without equipment. We are just dragging this out as long
I'm
as
so
we
sorry,
possibly
guys.
can.
Yes, we are. Is there anything else we should look at? Is there any tweets that we should be aware of?
Twitter time.
Is it a Twitter time? One last? No? Yes?
Twitter time.
Yes?
And then
Okay.
Yeah, we can do some Twitter goodness.
Paul, you do it. I did a lot.
Okay.
Oh no, I mean,
Ooh,
I will use my Twitter.
Adam has a nice D-frame. Ooh, water-cooled D-frame setup. That's pretty nice.
You want to favorite that? Thank you.
I like that. That's cool. And that's
Paul.
wow. I'm yeah. That would have been my question: is where are you going to mount anything other than a 120mm radiator in the D-frame? But that's a pretty good. It's a pretty good job there at the bottom. Although it looks like you have like a. Is that a 340 rad? That's on top of the 220mm fans down at the bottom. Hey, it fits. That's cool. And it's got a GTX 780 in there.
Wow, man.
It's cool. I like the red and black. Nice build, Adam. Good job.
Very, very cool.
Yeah, way to shoehorn a full dual rad custom water cooling loop into the D-frame. My Z87, Lou's asking if his Z87 board will work with the new K-SKU CPUs.
Can we say anything?
We can't say.
Okay.
We can't say. According to the rumors, you should read the rumors.
Yes, read the rumors.
But they're still rumors.
Yes,
but
and
yeah.
those are even just rumors. You're right.
D-Man Duck says, hack the planet. Go for it. I mean, I'm behind you 110%. Kelly Tech's asking my thoughts on my 770 classified. Have I overclocked it yet? I've had such little time to play with that configuration. I've been working on editing my little tutorial how to build my own system thing, but I really haven't done as much work on it this week as I wanted to. It's been very busy. I'm going to try to bang that out this weekend if I can. And I mean, noise-wise and performance-wise, I mean, all I can really talk about is the noise so far. I've barely played anything on it, so I think it's great. It's very quiet, but I need to get in there and see how far it's going to overclock and that sort of thing. Jeremy Hay says, are the how to build a PC tutorial and how to build a gaming PC still good? Yes, they are. They're a little bit outdated, but really as far as the actual construction process, not much has changed. No. We do have another one in the works. There's some newer technology that you might want to consider, such as USB 3 functionality and connectivity, but that's become fairly standardized at this point. So if you're buying new parts, you'll probably be okay. Construction-wise, everything is exactly the same. So, cool. So don't worry about that. Robert Partridge says, thanks. You are welcome.
You're welcome.
And I think that brings us back down to the guy asking about the processors. Oh wait, we have new notifications. Digital Storm is tweeting me. Hey, Digital Storm, thank you for watching. I don't know if you're watching right now, but you just tweeted a dual, a quad fire.
Favorite it.
They're watching?
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh,
thanks for watching, guys. Really appreciate that. That's a really clean. That's a clean looking setup. The Digital Storm. So Digital Storm, if you guys are watching right now, here's what I keep thinking about the Radeon, the 295X2, which is still right back there. Like, is there any practicality to like cutting the radiator off and somehow feeding that into a larger loop? Because for some reason I was looking at that and that's what I kept thinking. Even with 120mm pretty thick radiator on there, the temperatures can still get upwards of 70°C, which isn't terrible by any stretch, but I feel like integrating it with a larger loop could be potentially pretty cool. And if you can keep, because you got the blocks in there and everything, and you got the cooling there, like that's totally good, but just some way to expand that would be really cool to see. But I don't know practicality-wise if that's at all possible. Who knows? Maybe I'll ask and see if I can get approval to chop ours up or something, but I feel like that might be...
It's doable.
It is doable? Nice.
Okay.
All right, cool.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Hope to see that soon.
You like voiding your warranty?
You would definitely void your warranty, so you got to be okay to void a warranty on a $1,500 graphics card. But yeah, you know,
they
whatever.
hit the low 60s with the Corsair SP120s.
Oh, nice.
Cool. Very cool.
I like it. I like it a lot. And yeah, quad fire with those is just crazy overkill for even for 4K. I mean, it does a really good job. Oliver Jackson asks, are we ever going to try sub-zero cooling? Just did last week. We did a Gigabyte Z97 LN2 overclocking demonstration over in the other room. That's cool because we showed a little bit more of the setup process of that. Also, when we go to Computex, we're going to be covering some overclocking events there, so that should be really exciting. We'll be showing some actual performance, hopefully breaking some records from the teams that they have set up. We're covering an event with hosted by Intel, and I believe it's going to be Asus, MSI, ASRock, and Gigabyte are all going to be there, and they're all going to have their overclocking teams, and they're all going to be overclocking the new chips, which may or may not be releasing.
G.Skill's also hosting a couple events too.
Yes.
OC World Cup, and I already forgot the other one.
So Adam replied about his the D-frame thing. It's a 120 on top and a 360 on the bottom. So that is so I'm guessing the 360 has 2 fans on it, but it looked like for your configuration that should still be plenty of cooling. Can we come together and touch graphics cards tips?
No. Back in your hole, man duck.
I feel like he's trolling.
No, he's trolling in the funniest way he possibly can.
I see what you did there. Okay. Any plans for new PC build videos? More JJ videos? Somebody wants more JJ videos right now?
But they haven't.
Have we released all of them?
No,
what?
We have a bunch more.
We have more?
Yeah, I believe
there might be more on tap. I think we did like 10 with him, so there's probably some more coming.
Yeah. So whatever you've seen. No, wait. What was it? There was like 9. Was it 10 actually?
I don't remember. That whole day was just a blur.
Yeah.
A blur
we love
of
seeing
JJ talking at me.
Yeah. It's awesome with him.
Me trying to absorb as much of his power as I can.
Most of it just spilling out of both ears.
Most of it, yeah, just falls to the wayside. What is a good GPU to fit planned upcoming build around 800 bucks? Let's see, 800. You probably want to spend 250-ish on a GPU. Should probably put you in a. Well, how cheap can you get a 280X these days? Those are probably still.
You can. I just fleshed out a system for someone else to use a 7850K, and it didn't have a discrete card in it. It was just something to get that person going, but it also had like 16 gigs of memory of RAM in it in terms of memory. I tried to give them a ton of that. It had an SSD in it. It also had a 2 terabyte hard drive. I think I got around like 900 for that.
Yeah, I feel like 760, the GTX 760 is a great card in that price range, so I might check that one out. Check out comparable AMD cards in the same price range, because especially on specials, you can often get a really good deal, and the AMD cards can often outperform the NVIDIA cards, especially if you can get them at a reasonable price. So yeah, lots of options there, but I'd say for 800 bucks, probably look to spend 200, 250 on the graphics card. You can go more on the graphics card than you can go on the CPU probably if you're making a specific gaming system, but we should cut things off and end our video.
Yeah.
Our live stream.
Well, thank you guys so much for watching us. We always appreciate all of your attention and love. It would not happen without you guys, to be honest. Also, we're going to have, how much stuff we have? The same, nothing's changed next week, right? Because I know as closer we get to...
Same schedule next week, so...
closer we get to Computex, the more things are going to change.
Yeah.
But,
so you guys can see Yoked on Tuesday, Q&A on Wednesday, another Yoked on Thursday, live stream again a week from today, and then we're gonna do everything we can to continue this, even though most of our team is going to be gone in a couple weeks. But we might have some stuff planned, of course, for that, and be prepared for a deluge of videos when Computex rolls around, because
it's coming at you.
Hardcore. You know that's happening. Okay.
Z-Fram says, I'm here every week for Shirtless Steve.
Shirtless Steve.
Well,
is it unbuttoned shirt?
We gotta make that happen, Steve. We gotta make it happen.
All right.
Okay. Thank you guys all for being here. We'll see you all next week. Have a fantastic weekend, and go overclock something.
Yes. Go overclock
something. We need a message to Linus. Tell Linus, #go overclock something. Because he doesn't overclock anymore.
No.
He doesn't.
Why not?
I mean, he does like a little bit, but he doesn't much. If you watched his personal build video, he talks about like, yeah, I did all this, and then I don't really overclock. He does a little bit, but tell Linus to go overclock something. Yeah. He should. All right.
We're trying to give it enough space so that everybody else catches up at the end of the stream. Make sure that you're not just like, and thanks, and cut. So, all right. That should be good enough.